With the ever growing cases of COVID 19 infections and the introduction of its several variants, the government and various pharmaceutical companies have urged everybody to take part in the vaccination program. This idea has been deemed to be effective in terms of protection against the COVID 19, as well as a step towards bringing around the chance of living the normal life once again. Proponents of this idea state that the two-dose vaccination will help bring back the old normal, where health protocols such as wearing face masks, practicing social distancing, engaging in public gatherings, and doing actions without having to worry about the limitations brought about by strict pandemic policies might be disregarded. They could also see the advantage of this vaccination method in bringing back the conventional face to face learning modality, traditional work scheme, and generally the usual operation of human activity done before the COVID 19 pandemic transpired and altered how the world operates. However, even after achieving the two-dose vaccinations, particularly here in the Philippines, the protocols are still highly intact. First, the health guidelines still can restrict many people's lives, whether vaccinated or unvaccinated. It may contradict the idea about going back to the old normal. Strict impositions of lockdowns, time to time swab testing, temperature check before entrance to establishments, and mandatory quarantine before traveling to a place or country keep on curbing people's lives. It even caused them financial stress that would somehow additionally burden them. In addition, owing to the persistence of the said pandemic has brought us the new normal, not the old one, and we cannot just disregard it, for it has already been officiated. According to the World Health Organization, the new normal is a new standard where we, people, have to continue practicing physical distancing, wearing protective masks, avoiding crowded places, and conducting isolation. So, to keep up, we had to adapt to this new scheme, which made it clear that we will not be going back to normal that easily. In 2022, it would still be the same unless there is a lift in the COVID 19 health protocols. Second, we will not go back to normal in 2022 simply because the coronavirus is still around. It keeps on adapting and evolving in its environment, forming variants that are more contagious and health risky. The first variant ever recorded was the Delta variant and was described as near twice as infectious as the original strain of COVID 19. Numerous people, especially from India, have died due to this variant. The second one is the Omicron variant. It is a newly introduced variant that acts similarly to the Delta variant but spreads way more easily. Now, the point here is that when these strains or variants are still roaming around every corner of the places we go, such as schools, offices, hotels, malls, resorts, restaurants, and even our homes, we cannot guarantee safety. We can have ourselves infected through unaware gestures and unsafe interactions. And if we cannot ensure safety, we can go back to normal. If these instances continue circulating, then there's no hope of bringing back the normalcy. A study made by Litchfield of the MIT Technology Review states that we will never be going back to normal. He claimed that as long as someone contracts the causative agent, namely coronavirus, breakouts can and will keep on recurring without stringent controls to contain them, and in turn cannot make any progress for the flattening of the curve. Other than that, the efficacy rate of each available vaccine shows how we can still be vulnerable to infections. According to CDC, breakthrough infections in people who are fully vaccinated are likely to occur. You can view it in the daily news. There are still many people who get infected by the virus although they are fully vaccinated. It might indicate that going back to normal would not be as feasible as it seems, as infections are uncontrollable. On top of that, there are still people who are hesitant to partake in the vaccination method for some reason. Not only do their actions affect themselves, but also the community where they live in. Since they refuse to be vaccinated, there will be a higher chance that they will contract the virus and pass it on to any member of the community that they choose to socialize with. Instances like this are one of the reasons why I don't believe that the world cannot go back to normal. That we can go back to normal. Many people argue that by being fully vaccinated, the world by 2022 will be back to normal. However, to examine the current situation we are in, it makes sense why we can go back to normal that easily. As long as COVID 19 policies intervene with our usual activities, there would still be no progress towards stepping into the normal. And besides, the COVID 19 is evolving into something more infectious. When it infects somebody, it will be difficult to contain the virus, which results in an expansive infection in the community. Also, when other people are unvaccinated by choice, the cycle of viral infection continues. And when it does, we cannot go back to normal.